up, guys? It's your boy Josh Showtime. This is Showtime Fight Phone, where we talk all things fight related, combat related, don't really matter. Make sure you follow me on social media at Papa Showtime, Josh Showtime, whichever one you find me at. Make sure you comment, subscribe, like, and all that good stuff if you like my content. If you don't, you can bounce. Or you can just also tell me why you don't like it, and maybe we can improve it. Or maybe I'm just not your flavor, which is fine. Everybody don't like big chocolate. Now, let's get into this, y'all. We're gonna recap 290, all right? UFC 290. This was the best card of the year, one of the best cards we've seen in a couple years, actually. And your boy did good, man. Once again, hey, if you made any money, you wanna, send a couple dollars to your boy, man, make sure you hit my Cash App at Showtime Sanders. And, I did good. I was 4-2, all right? The two that I was wrong about, I was really wrong about. The Jalen Turner I was wrong about, but I was really, really wrong about Robert Whitaker and DDP. I'll just take that L, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yet and still, I think I did pretty well. My overall record right now is 21-9-1. Hey, we killing it, y'all. We killing it, okay? And we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep it going. I'm your boy. I'm the person that you need to bet on, man. Now, the card overall, like I said, was absolutely phenomenal, man. We had some crazy finishes, some amazing fights, and I mean, let's just get right into it. Now, the first fight we're gonna talk about is the first fight I was talking about, which is actually, hold on. Beforehand, let me see if there's any fight that stood out beforehand that I really wanted to talk about. Alonzo Minfield. Phenomenal win, man, especially after really technically winning your first fight with Jimmy Crute and then beating him the second time to officially beat him. That was a good win, man, and now you finally should be in the rankings, and let's see how you move forward with that. Jimmy definitely was fine with him retiring. Well, I think that's a couple losses now that's been under his belt. You definitely want to include that last one. I think it's a streak now. Yeah, I mean, hey, if you feel like it's time, then it's time, and I, hope he has a good career afterwards. But yeah, I definitely want to talk about that. But let's get into the feature prelim. Robbie Lawler is an absolute legend. We already talked about his story the last show. And I just have to, give him a round of applause for such an amazing career. And I'm happy he went out like how he starts, how we all know him for, which is the balls to the wall, explosive power puncher that can knock your lights out. And that's exactly what happened. And I called that. I mean, I thought it was a pretty safe bet, honestly. Like, it's Nico's game, but I said this before, man. He likes the fire. He wants to get punched. You don't want to get punched by Robbie Lawler. That's not a smart mindset to fighting a guy like that. But phenomenal career, great win. I love what the UFC did with him as far as his, the production that they gave him afterwards. It was really, really nice. And also, side note, man, how do y'all feel about Anderson Silva not showing up for the Hall of Fame? That blew me. Like, I was mad. Like, I was really upset about that. Like, Anderson Silva was one of my favorite fighters ever, and I don't know I do know he has beef with Dana, but dang, bro, like, come on, man. Like, I wanted the same feels I had for Jose. When Jose came out, like, I was like, that's what I need. Like, I wanted that same energy for Anderson, but for whatever reason, he didn't value it. So hopefully there's an MMA Hall of Fame that they create and they put Anderson in, and we can actually get a good speech, get some tears, get to hear that ain't no sunshine no more. That's what I really want. Like I needed to hear that. That anybody who knows anything about MMA, like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, was how deadly, how amazing that song was when you heard DMX Ain't No Sunshine coming out. You knew what was happening. You was like, all right, it's played. Somebody's getting knocked out. We just don't know if it's gonna be the first or the second round. But one of y'all, but y'all going to get knocked out. You're fighting Anderson Silva. Ain't no sunshine. Just get played. It's over. All right. So really upset about that. But let's get back into it. I just went on a tangent, but that's because I had to. I'm probably gonna go on one more tangent today. I'm gonna keep it a stack with y'all. Now the next fight, I ain't gonna dive too much on Bo Nichols. What did we learn from this fight? Realistically, what we learned is that he has power. That's probably it. Like, he still has some working to do on his strikes. Even the shot that he caught him with the leaping shot, it wasn't the nicest shot, in my opinion. But yet and still, it landed and it hurt him. And that's what matters the most. And people are going to be so worried about his takedowns. That's always going to open up his striking to develop. So it's good to know that he has power. So he is a threat in more ways than just one. He's not going to be just a one-trick pony. And at the end of the day, we already know what his wrestling and grappling brings. So it's going to be scary for you guys. And simple and plain, what's next for Bo? I don't think he should fight a top 15 guy. I think what's next is him fighting somebody that's outside the top 15. Maybe go Tresean Gore. I would probably go a little step up above Tresean. And then if he wins that, again, by flawless victory, he needs a top 15 guy after that. Like, we can't keep it. I'm not going to MVP him and just keep giving him cans and cans and cans. No, we need to progress him. If he's just beating these dudes, we got to see what he has. And so, once again, if he dominates his next fight, he needs to have a top 15 guy. If he dominates that, it needs to be a number one contender fight right there. I'm saying right now he's 3 fights away from a title shot. 3 fights away. However, it needs to be 3 dominant fights. I'm not saying, like, obviously he struggles in the top 15 fight. If he's struggling in that top 15 fight, give him somebody else's top 10. And then if he wins that, then go top 5. And then, give him a title shot. But he's definitely, in my opinion, closer than a lot of people will want to admit. And because Bo is that special. And we're seeing that he is a special guy. You do want to slow him, but you don't want to slow him too much. All right? That guy he's 27. He's not 21. He's not 22. He's 27. He has been a athlete. He's been competitive his entire life. He could be ready for this moment sooner than a lot of people want to give him credit for. Like I said, there's still work on his striking, but he's already knocking dudes out. And yes, this guy wasn't, a UFC contender or anything like that, but he still knocked out an undefeated fighter. We got to give him credit. So, good fight for Bo. We learned a little, but not too much. And that's a credit to Bo. Now, the next fight, we got to talk about Dan Hooker and Jalen Turner. I was wrong about this fight, and I was close to being right because I don't know how he took that head kick. I said it before, it would be the power difference that would give Jalen Turner the victory, and that isn't what gave him the victory. The power difference, Jalen cracks harder than Dan Hooker. We saw that. Yet and still, Dan was able to withstand, and he went out of the fire and the storm. He said, all right, cool, I'm out of it now, and took over the fight after that. I'm actually okay with people saying Jalen Turner won. If I'm being honest, I thought Jalen won the fight. The reason why, but I'm also going to say this. Don't get mad. Let me explain. I am fine with Dan Hooker winning. I don't have any. When they say he won, I was like, okay, cool. Because in reality, it's Jalen Turner's fault. You were winning 4 minutes of that second round. He got tired, and it could have been the weight. I'm still sick, by the way. Obviously, the weight cut really affected him because he went downhill at the end of that second round. And Dan sensed it and just started putting the pressure on him. And Dan's smart. He's smart, okay? He fought a very smart fight. I think once he started to realize he's breathing a little harder than he needs to, he just started walking him down. And that was a very smart strategy, and it worked. So it's all Jalen. Jalen Turner should have won that fight. All you had to do is be strong for that second round. You could have done it. All that stuff that you did in the third round where you clearly lost. I don't know how the judge said he won it, but he clearly lost that third round, and you would have won a 2-1 decision. But you let him take you down. You let him get that choke in that was very deep. Even if you knew wasn't in no danger, it's how it looks. And also, you got rocked a couple times in that last 30, 40 seconds. You gave the fight away. Congrats to Dan Hooker for sure. Good win. Very solid win. And honestly, he really needed that for his confidence, in my opinion. Now, the next fight, the fight that I was so wrong about, and I was like, oh, this is looking bad for me. All right. I'm over here like, if DDP out here getting knockout victories, I know this ain't my night. And yeah, what can I say? I was wrong, just like everybody else was wrong. DDP looked great. We got to keep it a stack. He looked phenomenal. Robert Whittaker, I'm not even going to say he's washed. I don't think he's washed. He was smaller, weaker, and he got caught. And he didn't even get caught with like a very hard shot. He got caught with a jab coming in. And that darting didn't work. His karate dart, blitz, or whatever you want to call it, didn't work. Got caught, got clipped, just like Jared Cannonier caught him with. And DDP was able to finish the job. I will say that when the grappling exchange came and that headlock, or y'all can call it whatever judo toss you want, I call it headlock because I'm a wrestler. The fact that it worked, I'm not tripping over because, once again, you surprise people with headlocks, you can get a lot of people. My issue was the fact of, like, once he got on top, you realize the size difference for me, and then you realize the strength difference. Robert Whittaker was like a little brother, and he definitely big brothered him after that. And I mean, it wasn't a flawless victory. Like in spots, he honestly looked like he really didn't know what he was doing striking wise. And he was just throwing things, and his movement seemed a little herky jerky. But yet, still, it worked for him. And you got to give him credit. He has power. He's a nightmare on the ground. And his takedowns were strong at that point. So I got to give him my respect. And I can't sit here and, hate on that. And I won't hate on that. But I got what I wanted. Because I already told y'all, I wanted him to win. Because now he gets to fight Israel. And I've been saying this a million times. I really just don't like the guy just simply off that whole African thing. People can say, yes, he took it back, this, that, and the third. But to double down on it and say it a second time and then still keep going with this narrative of I'm going to be the first African that lives in Africa, then this, that, and the third. It just annoys me, y'all. Personally, it just annoys me. I'm not African. I'm African-American, obviously. I wasn't born in Africa. But I'm getting tired of this MMA community thing where we think we could dictate where people are from. Like, it pisses me off. Like, I'm American, you can't tell me I'm not American. At the same time, you can't tell Usman, you can't tell Francis, you can't tell Israel that they're not African. These dudes were born in Africa. They lived in Africa. They all speak their specific dialect and language in Africa. Who the hell are you to tell somebody where they're from and who they are? This isn't like DDP. This is just for the MMA community. I'm tired of it. I hated that Marty's from Nebraska. One, he was stupid anyways. He never was from Nebraska. If anything, he's from Texas, which is bro, he went to college. He was a grown man when he went to Nebraska. That man is from Africa. He's from Nigeria. He spent 8 years in Africa. The first language he learned was not English. What mindset do you guys have? Israel lived 9 years in Africa. His first language was not English. It was not whatever it is they speak in New Zealand. He didn't live there. He lived there after the fact. And the fact of, guess what? Their parents are African, which means their household is African. The stuff they eat, the language they speak in their household is all going to be their specific language. Francis literally was an adult when he left. He lived most of his life in Cameroon. He is not he's not French. He speaks it, but there's a reason why he speaks it. Maybe you should look it up and find out why Francis speaks French. Why does that area speak French? There's a reason why. It's not really a good reason, but just go ahead and speak that. He still has an African accent. Like the turmoil and stuff that they had to even that Francis had to even get to get to Paris, being homeless, having to go through the struggle, being a minor. Having to be a minor while he was 12 or whatever. Like, his story is crazy, but yet still you want to dictate where these guys are. I'm gonna be the first person, be the first real African champion, bro. Your family is Dutch. The reason why you guys are there and the reason why it's majority white is because of legit racism. Apartheid is racist. White people were a quote unquote higher class. So they separated everything. They segregated it. Black people had to go here. We weren't even to the Indians and the Asians. But yet and still, you feel the right to try to dictate what a black African is. Like, that's the stuff that pisses me off. I don't like it. So DDP, the knockout that you're going to get, you deserve. And I honestly can't wait for Israel to dance all over your slept body, because that's what more likely is going to happen in my opinion. And we'll talk about that when it actually comes. But like, I try not to dive into the whole race issue. And people say, why is everything racist? DDP never mentioned race. Yeah, he just coincidentally was talking about 3 black Africans that happened to be born in Africa, and then say that him and another person who also was white are the real Africans. You're right. I'm not even saying DDP's racist. I don't know him. He might not be racist. I don't really think he is. I don't know. But I can say that the supporters of these comments are probably racist, and you're an idiot. So, take the L that you normally would get in life, and, screw you. But yet and still, let's get back into it. Let's talk about the other fights. All right, co-main and Brandon Moreno, okay, versus Pantoja. I said this before. I thought Pantoja was going to win. I also did call that the wrestling was going to be the deciding factor. Now, with all that being said, I'm telling you right now, I had Brandon Moreno winning. And the simple reason why is because I will always choose damage over control. Simple and plain. I thought in the 4th round, Brandon Moreno did way more damage than Pantoja. I don't think it was that close as far as the damage that was given. I just think that Pantoja was smart and he was able to control the fight by taking him down. Damage is over control, bro. It's a fight at the end of the day. When anybody looks at a fight, we'll say who did the most damage. And then some people say, yes, you can't always dictate that, but that's only, you can't dictate it if it was only done in one round. I think that there was 3 pretty clear rounds where Brandon Moreno was doing the most damage, and it wasn't that debatable. 2, 3, and 4 to me, it was Brandon Moreno doing the damage. 5 is close. In my opinion, 5 was close. I will still give it to Pantoja because he had a little bit more control and it wasn't as much damage, but yet and still, damage was on Moreno's side. I'm not mad about the decision, by the way. I'm a wrestler, so if you want to give it to it, cool. I'm just talking about how I judge fights. So Pantoja won. It was a close fight. I do think they need to run it back. There needs to be a 4th fight. I know we've seen it 3 times. It was a great fight for one. Fight of the year easily. But also, like I said, I think it is a debate on who really won this fight. And I would love to see it again. Now, I'll probably pick the same person because we're going by the same criteria. I think that Moreno's not going to be able to stop his takedowns in those 5 rounds. Pantoja was gassed out and was still getting takedowns. That's a problem. And I do think Moreno was getting a little tired too, but Pantoja was gassed and he was still working those takedowns. I think that Pantoja can do more to learn than Moreno can do more in, like, let's say 6 months, 8 months span to get better. I could be wrong. And once again, I'm fine with being wrong, but that's just how I feel. But I was right. I said Pantoja was going to win and he won. Now, the last fight. That fight that was hard for me to call just because I respect Yair so much as a striker. But at the same time, I respect Alex Volkanovski like more. Because his brain, his skill set, and the things that he could just do and take away from you, it's unreal. And Alex, I personally feel, would never get his real like credit because he's not as flashy and as eye-popping as some of the greatest of all time. Jose Aldo, you think leg kicks. Like, he's a flashy guy. His knockout reel is ridiculous. Anderson Silva, we don't really even need to get to that. John Jones, same exact thing. GSP, not really. But yet and still, he has the resume that competes with anybody. But yet and still, his style, even GSP's style, you got the karate mat. I mean, you got the headband. You have the Superman punch to a leg kick, the dominating wrestling. Like, Alex Volkanovski's highlight tape will never look like those guys, in my opinion. But this man is elite everywhere, literally everywhere. He can take a punch. He has great defense. He has great wrestling. And he has great submission defense. Like, and also he's one of the toughest guys. And he's probably, fight IQ wise, he might be the best that we've seen. I might probably maybe put John Jones above him, but I don't know anybody else, like, fight wise that thinks like him. Like, here's a simple example. When he had Yair hurt, and Yair obviously is who he is, to take him down was actually the smartest thing he could have ever done. It's normally stupid for 99% of people who do it, because why are you taking this man down? He's hurt. Yair, you already know why he does it, because he will hurt you somehow, some way, and throw something ridiculous, and next thing you know, you're knocked out. No, he took him down, put inside control, and beat the living hell out of him, turning the Terminator. Like, I'm telling you right now, man. Like, I already said I think Jose's the GOAT, but I'm, like, very close. And it hurts me to say that because Jose's one of my favorite fighters ever. It's very close. And I have no issue I don't have issue with people saying he's the best featherweight ever. Because even prime for prime, because when they did fight, Jose was not in his prime. But even Volk at his best, which is honestly probably around now, to Jose when he was best, which was probably around his 20s, Volk's probably still beating him. Like, and I have to, like, accept that. It's hard for me to, but he probably is. Jose could win, but he's probably gonna lose. But yeah. Yet and still, man, like I said, I'm impressed. How can you not be impressed with the guy? Alex is a man amongst boys right now. But what's next for him? I would probably want to go to Poirier. I know people want to see Makhachev, but I want to see Makhachev fight versus Charles Oliveira first. And then if Topuria loses, then honestly, you have to run it back. There's not really too much left. Yes, you could say Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier winner, but I'd rather see Alex Volkanovski versus Makhachev over them right now. Now, as always, man, I want to hear what you guys think about all that, including, you know, the people who want to debate about this whole real African thing that for some odd reason think you could dictate it. I would love to hear your opinions on that. Like, I've already gotten blocked on Twitter a few times. Speaking of that, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Papa Showtime. You know, I talk a little ish, you know, just a little bit. But as always, man, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all the love and support. Share it, like it, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Stay blessed.